Hi, I'm Amanda Neely, and I'm the host of the podcast Grandma's Wealth Wisdom, along with my husband, Brandon Neely. And what we do with Grandma's Wealth Wisdom is guide 30 and 40 somethings to cut through financial noise and create a wealth building strategy that is simple, sustainable, and that their grandma would be proud of. And today I wanted to just do an off the cuff video about something that I found really super interesting that I learned lately. And it has to do with money, but it also has to do with way more than money. In fact, the principle is not about money at all, but it can be applied to money. But it can also be applied to health, fitness, spirituality, relationships, all over the place. So I wanted to share this that I learned with you, what I thought about it previously, and how I'm changing my opinion, how I'm going to do things going forward, so that maybe you might consider that too. Now, this idea, of course, I just learned it. I didn't come up with it on my own, and I have to give credit where credit's due. So the credit goes to this book right here called Profit First, written by this guy, Mike Michalowicz. And this book is about money, but again, the principle that I'm going to share is not just about money. So spoiler alert, it's toward the end of the book. I highly recommend the book to read all of it, to implement it, especially if you are a business owner, but it has things that apply to personal finance as well. But I'm going to spoil just a tiny little bit of the book for you in this video. Again, the book's called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, and this is one of the things I learned while I read this book that I can't wait to share. So here it is. He brings up this idea of anytime you want to make a change, that if you do it really drastically, then when you're done, reaching whatever that goal is that you set, that you often go back to how you were doing it before. So the example is someone that's trying to lose weight. They do something really drastic. They do a crash diet to try to lose that weight. They lose a little bit. They stop doing the crash diet, and often the weight just comes right back. And he's applying it to money, that if you try to make a huge, sudden financial change, maybe you'll reach some goals like get out of debt really quickly, but then over the long term, you might not be able to, you're going to probably return to what you did before because you didn't actually implement that in your lifestyle. And so then people go back into debt, those kind of things. And I thought this was really fascinating. I have done these kinds of things in the past, where I set aside a week or a month or 40 days is most often what I try to do, or I try to implement a new habit in my life. So I've tried, the whole month of January one year, I went to bed and woke up at the same exact time every day. I've gone vegan for 40 days, gone gluten-free for 40 days, just tried different things. And of course, I've always said that once I'm done with that, I often see that my lifestyle has changed and that I'm much better even after I finish that time with implementing that same change in my life. I'm much more consistent with my bedtime. I eat a lot less meat still. I, avoid gluten, so on and so forth. But I've also noticed in reflection after reading this book that over time, maybe it takes 1 year, maybe it takes 6 months, maybe it takes a couple years, I revert back to what I did before. I'm back to eating gluten. I'm back to eating meat. I'm back to my sleep schedule being wackadoodle. And so that actually caught me off guard as I was reading this book, thinking just about money, that I was thinking about all these things that I've tried to improve my life. And so I want to be clear that I don't think that I'm wrong in wanting to do things for a set period of time and being a little drastic in them. There's people that do the no sugar challenge, where they'll try to go a week or two with no sugar, actually probably more like 2 weeks, because you got to get through that first week to get the benefits, right? So they'll cut out all sugar and all carbs, but then they'll come back to it. And so, or maybe they'll experience such good things that they actually eat a lot less sugar afterwards. But what I'm going to try next is I'm going to set that time, that 30 days, that 40 days, that week, whatever it is, to do something a little drastic. And then have in mind when I start that, what is the implementation afterward. What lifestyle change am I going to do continually going forward? And what's actually realistic in that way? So for example, I know some people who they only have desserts on the weekends, and that works for them. They're relatively healthy. Some they're not like unhealthy. They're pretty healthy. And that's just how they've set up their lifestyle of eating healthy and avoiding sugar, is limiting desserts to weekends. I knew a doctor once that was telling me she runs a bunch every day, but as her treat, she has one like little dessert every single day, 7 days a week. And that's how she remains being healthy. She eats super healthy all the rest of the time. She runs, but she allows herself to have that sweet thing once a week or once a day. And relatively small, not like a whole cake or whatever. And I love that philosophy of like, whatever change you want to see in your life, maybe you do something drastic to kickstart your change, but you also think of what could you do that you could maintain over the long term. And I think that's super smart. I thank Mike for including that kind of idea in the book. I've sort of taken the nugget that he put there and extrapolated in my own life and what I've seen other people do. And I hope that's helpful for you. I know like a little over a month ago, people set New Year's resolutions, and sometimes those can be like super drastic and they never work out, right? So people just stop making New Year's resolutions. But maybe there is something that we want to see different in our lives, and we could try doing that small change that we know we could implement that's going to last maybe for the rest of our lives, and then build on top of that another small change, something like that. So I hope that's helpful to you. I might talk more about this book in the future. I found it super helpful. As I was reading through it, I was thinking of people I know that should read this book, and I was thinking I should buy this person a copy. I should buy that person a copy. And I came up with too many people to actually buy them copies. So I'm just going to suggest that they read it. And I suggest that for you as well. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. Again, I'm just sharing this because I found it super helpful. I'm not getting paid by Mike or the Profit First team or anything to share about this book. It's just something that has impacted my life recently and want to share it with others. So if you like this video, comment, like it, share it with other people. Let me know if you'd like to hear more about the books that I'm reading and what I'm learning from them, or just what I'm learning in general. I'd welcome your feedback. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.